Hey YouTube, alright, let's see where we're standing today. Let me get some light. Alright, that's one, that's two. Okay, valve heads are back. As you can see, that wasn't on yesterday. So all the valve heads, I put new gaskets, of course. Let's see if you can see a little bit of the gaskets from here, but all the gaskets for the heads are new. I didn't use any silicone on the head gaskets. What's going to happen is I'm going to crank, after I put all the fluids and everything, the intake manifold, I crank the car and I'm going to see if there are any leaks from anywhere. Then I may have to go back. But what I do right now is I'm trying to make sure that I'm not going to have to go back. So of course, in between, making sure that all the bolts are the exact same ones that you took from before. And usually what I do is when I take something out, I'm going to leave the bolts on where I took it out. That way I'm not going to end up having too many bolts when I'm done, or short of bolts. You know, you don't want to lose the bolts, but you don't want to have too many of them left in your pocket. So what I do when I take something out, I just put the bolt, after I take it out, I put the bolt exactly to the hole where it was. That way I know, like here, you can see here, I don't know what it is for at that point, but I know that there is a bolt here that I left for a reason. So when I get to a point that something's going to have to hook up there, here is the bolt, and this is the bolt where it fits exactly, you know, because if you have something like that in your hand, you may not know what it belongs to. So what I do, I take the bolts, I take the screws out, I put them back where they belong, and I keep them there until I'm done with the job. So this is intake manifold gaskets. I put them on. I'm going to see how tricky it is to put the intake manifold. I may have to put the gaskets into the intake manifold before. Put the heat shields back on, or at least on one side. On this side here, I still have to tighten one more screw on the exhaust exhaust pipe before I close the heat shield on this side. I put the oil pump back in, pull the cover, the vacuum back in this side, put the secondary air pump on this side. Let's see if you can see. It's kind of hard to see. Let me get the light so we have that, so we can see what it is. Alright, so this is the secondary pump. There are 3 screws holding it here, 1, 2, and 1 on the bottom. Tensioner. I kept on turning the motor manually, like I showed in the previous movie, in the previous video. Kept on turning to make sure nothing is grinding, nothing is touching, everything goes smooth. I didn't do a very good job on cleaning everything. When I'm done with everything, I'm just gonna go with a wet rag with some sea foam and clean everything so it looks nice and shiny. But since I'm touching everything already while I'm doing the work and I got a lot of grease in my hands, then there is no point in cleaning and chasing yourself to try and clean it again and again and again. Water pump going to go next. What I'm doing right now is I'm working on all the breathers. I got new tubes. I don't know if you saw the first video when I took everything out. A few of them just broke, like not like this one, but like this one here. Let me show you the difference between a dry breather tube, plastic tube that dried from the heat and the time, of course, and the temperature changes. You see, that's the noise that the dry one does, and you can see this one can bend. You can just squish it and come back. This one, you can't squish it, it's dry. It's just turned into strong plastic. So I'm going by the diagram just to make sure I got all the right parts. This is basically the valve, not the valve body. Alright, I can't concentrate today, excuse me. But anyway, this is the diagram of all the breathers, how they go from the back of the oil cooler. This is the oil cooler right here, into the intake body. Whatever I could salvage and use that didn't make a difference, like this one, for example, I kept the same one. I may have to replace this one. Let's see. Yeah, it's broken. I don't even think I got this one. Alright, so whatever I could salvage and use the exact the same one, I used it. Wherever I had joints that I needed the flexibility and make sure that I can put it back in right, I got the new part. These are, as funny as it is, a piece of plastic, but really expensive. The Mercedes cost on them, if you go to Mercedes and you buy it retail, you'll pay $57 on each. The list is $37 on the wholesale, and I got them for about $15, $14. You can also go back on to the previous movies. I put all the pricing and everything of what I got. So what we got so far today is we got the valve covers back in with the gaskets, of course. Make sure that the timing is right, tight everything back, put the mufflers, the exhaust pipes back in, heat shields. And what I'm going to do next is connect all the tubings, connect the intake manifold, tight everything down. We'll see if I'm going to be able to fill up fluids in the car today and crank it, hopefully. But follow me on all my videos. If you have any questions or any comments or anything, don't hesitate. I'll respond immediately. And just let me know if you need any help. Thank you. Alright, good people of YouTube. I got the intake manifold in. Can tell you that that's not an easy task. I knew something going to go a little harder because everything else was really easy. And I was right. The intake manifold, there are two gaskets that goes on the bottom. Let's see if we can see them from here. No, I can't really see them. Anyway, there's nothing that holds them, and you have to put them in a way that the bolt's going to go through and they're not moving, and there's no access to hold them straight. So what I've done, I took a little bit silicone, and they're not straight. They're kind of curved a little bit because it's some kind of aluminum or some kind of metal that is not straight sitting on the intake holes that goes to the combustion chamber. So I took a little bit silicone and tried to hold them and prayed a lot. I have to say that you definitely need to pray to be able to put them in. Without a prayer, you're just going to waste half a day to put the bolts through the holes on the intake manifold gasket, but I was able to do it finally. It wasn't an easy task. Now I got to take one bolt at a time and put the things that holding the vacuum lines and the rest of the stuff. Now I get to the point that there's not a whole lot of space to work. That's where it's starting to get a little delicate and a little more whoop, I hope I didn't do it reversed. Oh man, oh crap, I forgot to put the water pump. Alright, here it is. Forgot to put that in. I guess I have to take it out because this one right here, this section, got to sit under the intake manifold. Oh crap. Okay, so you see I told you you're going to learn from my mistakes. So here's something you got to learn. The pump goes in before the intake manifold because now it's not going to be able to slide under. So I was bragging about being able to put the gasket in, and it was too early to do that. I guess I got to put the pump first and then put the intake manifold. So I'm going to take the intake manifold out again and keep on praying. Okay, hold fingers for me. I'll take that back. I didn't have to take the manifold back out to put it in, the thermostat. Just let's see if you can see this bolt right there. So of course you don't have to take the manifold to take the thermostat out. Duh. Otherwise just changing thermostat is going to be $3,000. Which wouldn't surprise me on Mercedes. But anyway, everything else looks pretty good. Starting to put everything back together. You can see that I left it open. Don't leave it open because if you drop a bolt or something inside, phew, man, you're going to have some tough ride. But so far everything was fun. Now the hard work's starting because I got to get back there and start to move all the wire harness to the front. I have to go through every bolt, every screw, make sure they're tight, not over tight, but just tight. I wouldn't be surprised if I crank everything and I'm going to find some leaks. It's normal, it's acceptable, that's how usually it works. But then you find the leak where it is and you go back and tighten it a little more. You let the motor warm up a little and then things changes on the temperature, on the everything around it. So yeah, I'm at the point where I'm going to start in a few moments, put the breathers back in and start to work on the vacuum lines and then go to the wire harness. So that's it for now. I'm going to have lunch. I'm kind of tired. Been working for a few hours. That's it for now, but I'll continue to that until everything is done. So that's it. Intake manifold is in, vacuum lines coming up, and then of course feeding the motor with oil and coolant. Alright, if you have any comments or questions, drop me a line. You know where, right there, right down at the bottom, under my finger. Write me whatever question you have, and I'll respond as soon as I can. Thanks.